America, land of opportunity, home of the free, and increasingly a place where the cost of living feels like a cruel joke. We all know about the big expenses: rent, groceries, that weird stain on your couch you're pretending not to see. But beyond those obvious costs lurks a shadowy cabal of hidden expenses, ready to drain your bank account faster than you can say overdraft fee. Think about it. You've just signed the lease on your dream apartment. Okay, maybe not your apartment, but it's got 4 walls and some questionable plumbing. So close enough. You're feeling good. You're an adult. Then bam, utility bills, security deposits, and the realization that furnished doesn't actually mean comes with furniture hit you harder than a runaway shopping cart. And it's not just housing, transportation costs, health insurance premiums. Even the price of a cup of coffee can vary wildly depending on where you live and what choices you make. These hidden costs, often overlooked in discussions about the cost of living, can make a significant difference in your financial stability. So buckle up, Buttercup. We're about to dive deep into the murky waters of America's hidden costs, shining a light on the expenses that nobody tells you about until it's too late. Let's talk about housing, shall we? That magical place where most of your paycheck disappears faster than snacks in a college dorm. You've got your rent or mortgage, of course, but what about the other expenses lurking in the shadows? Property taxes, for example, can add a hefty chunk of change to your monthly expenses, especially in areas with high property values. And don't forget about homeowners insurance, which protects you from financial ruin in case of disasters, but also drains your bank account on a monthly basis. Then there are the joys of home maintenance. Leaky faucet, that'll be $200. Broken garbage disposal that smells vaguely of regret in last week's takeout, another $500. And don't even get me started on the existential dread of replacing a roof. Even if you're renting, you're not off the hook. Renter's insurance, while generally cheaper than homeowner's insurance, is still an additional expense. And let's not forget about utilities, which can fluctuate wildly depending on the season and your personal energy consumption habits. The bottom line is this: the cost of housing goes far beyond your monthly rent or mortgage payment. Factoring in these hidden expenses is crucial for understanding the true financial burden of putting a roof over your head. Transportation, the great equalizer. Whether you're cruising in a gas-guzzling SUV or squeezing onto a crowded subway, one thing's for sure: getting from point A to point B is going to cost you. For car owners, the expenses are about as subtle as a brick wall. Gas prices, maintenance costs, insurance premiums, and parking tickets all conspire to drain your wallet. And don't even get me started on car payments. Public transportation might seem cheaper, but bus passes, train tickets, and subway fares can add up. The hidden cost of transportation can sneak up on you. Let's talk about health insurance, shall we? That wonderful system where you pay a small fortune every month for the privilege of maybe, possibly, potentially having your medical expenses covered. Emphasis on the maybe. Even with health insurance, the out-of-pocket costs can be enough to make you want to self-medicate with essential oils and positive affirmations. Co-pays, deductibles, and the dreaded not covered by your plan notification can turn a routine checkup into a financial nightmare. And then There are the hidden costs of being uninsured. Sure, you might save money on monthly premiums, but one trip to the emergency room could bankrupt you faster than a weekend in Vegas. But the hidden costs of healthcare go beyond insurance premiums and medical bills. What about the cost of transportation to and from doctor's appointments, or the lost wages from taking time off work to recover from an illness or injury? The reality is that staying healthy in America is expensive. And getting sick? Well, that's a whole other level of financial pain. Now let's talk about groceries. It's one of those everyday expenses that can really add up over time. You might not notice it at first, but week by week, those trips to the store can take a significant bite out of your budget. You see, the cost of food has been steadily rising, and it's not just the big ticket items. Even the basics like bread, milk, and eggs have seen noticeable price hikes. And if you're trying to eat healthy, well, fresh produce and organic options often come with a premium price tag. Then there are the hidden costs. Things like convenience foods, snacks, and even those little treats you grab at the checkout can all add up. It's easy to overlook these smaller purchases, but they can quietly inflate your grocery bill. So, what can you do? Planning your meals, making a shopping list, and sticking to it can help. Also, keeping an eye out for sales and using coupons can make a difference, but at the end of the day, being aware of these costs is the first step to managing them effectively. So, let's talk about the hidden costs of schooling in America. You might think tuition is the only major expense, but there's more to it. From textbooks to extracurricular activities, these hidden costs can add up quickly. And let's not forget about transportation, school supplies, and even lunch money. All these seemingly small expenses can take a big bite out of a family's budget. Moving on, regional differences in the cost of living can be quite surprising. For instance, the cost of housing in New York City is vastly different from that in a small town in the Midwest. And it's not just housing. Groceries, healthcare, and even utilities can vary significantly from one region to another. These differences can make a huge impact on your overall financial well-being, depending on where you live. Now, let's delve into the rising costs and their impact on everyday life. Over the years, we've seen a steady increase in the cost of essentials like healthcare, education, and housing. This rise in costs often outpaces wage growth, making it harder for families to make ends meet. The impact of these rising costs can be felt in every aspect of life, from the quality of health care you receive to the kind of education your children can afford. Finally, let's discuss some tips for managing these hidden costs. First, budgeting is key. Make sure to account for all the small expenses that can add up over time. Second, look for discounts and deals wherever possible. And third, consider alternative options, like used textbooks or carpooling, to save on transportation. By being proactive and mindful of these hidden costs, you can better manage your finances and reduce the strain on your budget.